And Shoba, welcome to Nova Scribes. It's over to you.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you and welcome. Good afternoon, good early evening to everyone. So what we are going to do is we're going to do, obviously, I'm going to do a quick introduction of myself. The opportunity presents itself. We will definitely introduce the folks, well, all the folks in our virtual room to introduce themselves. We'll talk about the session and then we'll jump into the session. Also happy to see a familiar face. Hello, Wendy. All righty. So, what we are doing today, let me do a very quick screen share. Let me pull that up. And you should be able to see that in your screen very, very quickly. There we go. Okay, here we go. So, you've signed up for something called, Beyond the Daily Grind, Build a Thriving Small Business. So a little bit about myself and a little bit about, why this workshop in the first place. So I have been I've been exposed to the world of learning and development, organization development. So specifically under that, training, process facilitation, a little bit of consulting, coaching for about 20 years now. I am Singaporean. I spent most of my work work experience is in Singapore, although a small amount of it is also in Australia because that's where I studied. Recently, late last year, actually, I moved to the US with my husband. He's American. We moved for work. And I am now here rebuilding my business. So, speaking of building a small business, let's get into it. You will see that we are on a particular platform called Miro. I know that some of you are familiar with it and some of you are new to it. So, I'm actually very happy to introduce you to Miro as well. And in a moment, we will get our hands busy with that. Now, but before we jump into it, let me just pull it's over to, what are we hoping to achieve? I'm going to hide that for now. Okay, so as we run any workshop, we always want to start with the end in mind. And the purpose, right? The purpose of this approximately 2.5 hours that we will have together is really for us to get a sense, to wear our small business owner hat. I am aware that not all of you are small business owners. Some of you are full-time employed. Some of you are thinking about starting your small business. But that's all right. Wherever you are is perfectly fine. For the purposes of this, we're going to invite you to put on a small business owner's hat, right? And so one of the first things that we want to accomplish is to walk away having sort of distinguished between what are the entire skill sets that are required to run a business, right? And so we call that working on the business. And so working in the business is now that I have my business, what do I do? So for those of us, who are facilitators, consultants, trainers, that is what we do. But if we are business owners as well, that is something else that we do. So we want to distinguish that and we want to figure out what are the different parts that are involved in running a business and then hopefully working and improving some of the various parts. Now, the that's the first two elements. The third element, right, what we want to achieve is looking at ourselves again, regardless of whether we run a business, considering, where are we, what do we think we're good at, and maybe we want to strengthen that, and what do we think, there are some gaps in the things that we are doing, and how can we potentially bridge those gaps. So those are some of the what we call rational objectives. The experiential objectives, meaning to say, when I was designing this workshop, my thinking was around it's not just, sort of like your left brain, this is what we want to achieve, but what is the kind of experience we want to have as we achieve the top three, right? And so number one was to build confidence. Right? By identifying things that we are good at and recognizing that, okay, there are things that we may have certain gaps. These gaps can be fixed and they are actually normal. The more important thing is to say they are normal. Because once we go through and build out the picture, I do sort of do a soft warning. It can seem a little bit overwhelming, like to say, oh my God, there's so many things I need to do. So we don't want it to be overwhelming. We want to acknowledge that, yeah, there's a bunch of things that we can do. We don't have to do everything at once. just to tell you a quick story, I actually have a friend who is a very, very successful, mainly facilitator, but he's a facilitator and a trainer. He's been running his business for 15 years, and he's only just building his website, so it's okay. We don't need to do everything all at once. Now, the second and last thing around experiential objectives, this I think is a very, very important element, right? So for us to create meaningful connections with each other that could hopefully lead to potential future collaboration and or support networks. And this one for me is especially important because when just interestingly, someone asked me, why am I running this workshop? One of the things about having moved countries is the good thing is I do have my skill set, right? A training, facilitation, a coaching background. But what I don't know is actually how to do that in a different country, right? And so for me, the starting point was if there are things that I know, and there are things that I don't know, how can I find that out? And of course, it eventually led me to, I don't think I'm the only person who has that question. Hence, all of us are here. All right. So these are the objectives. I'm going to go through one or two more things, and then we're going to jump into Miro. I'm going to invite you into Miro. So Brian, just to give you a mental heads up, when I signal you to just pop the link, the Miro link into Zoom chat for everyone, but not just yet. All righty. So what are one or two more things I'd like us to go through before we jump? I invite you all into Miro. All righty. So essentially for the next 2.5 hours, we're going to do some quick introductions. Of course, then I'm going to introduce you to Miro, let loose, and then we're going to focus on the main part of this afternoon's workshop, which is really developing this holistic picture, articulating, what are some questions I have about the different parts of running a business, and therefore what solutions we as a community can come up with. And of course, no facilitated workshop will be complete without one or two action plans. So we're going to end with that. All righty. So with that being said, another thing we know that most facilitated workshops have are session norms or discussion norms. Now, I have 3, but what I would like to do is to potentially invite you now to add in anything else, right? So the invitation to all of us is number 1, put in as much as you want to get out, right? So if you're like, I have a lot of questions, bring all of those. Or if you're more experienced, you say, well, I have a lot of, advice and sharing that I'd love to extend to our community. Please do that as well, right? So ask and offer assistance. We absolutely want to have fun while doing so. Miro is an excellent platform that will allow us to do that. Okay, so I have 3. Are there any others, or what others could I add to this? May I invite you either to just unmute yourself or to type quickly into Zoom chat? Wendy, I can see you're eating, so you can type something to Zoom chat. By the way, that's perfectly okay. You can eat and drink. You're very welcome to. Is there anything else that I can add? I'm just going to pause for a moment to see if there's anything else I can add.
Participate.
Participate, yeah.
And eating and drinking is okay, which it said on the invite, and I took you at your word.
Absolutely. All righty. Okay, do we have anything else? Okay, yes, okay. Let's pause it at that. All righty. Last thing before I invite you to the Miroverse. Also, there may be things that you have questions about that may not be directly related, or if you're not sure whether it fits in, stick it in the parking lot. My invitation to you is just ask it anytime, whether in Zoom or verbally. And if it maybe does not fit in at that time, we'll stick it here. And then at the end of the session, we'll come back to it and make sure that it's been addressed. Okay, now let's jump to the Miroverse, but hang on a sec, Brian. Let me do a quick introduction first. I know you're about to. Hang on, hold your horses. Now, folks, you can see a lot of text on this page. This text is actually not for you. I've actually written it and have left it there for people that may be joining us later, right? So then they can actually read how they can navigate and use Miro as we go through the program. Now, so there's only 2 things mainly I want to introduce you to. Number 1 is how do you navigate around Miro. Number two is how do you interact with it. So as far as navigation is concerned, now for those of us on computers, and if you have a left and right mouse button, because I know Max, you may only have one mouse. So if you have a left and right mouse button, to move left and right, that means to drag and drop, you will be using your right mouse button. So you will click it, like you can't see that right now, right mouse button, and then that's how you move things left and right. If you only have one mouse button, what you'll have to do is unselect the green arrow, right? So if you unselect it and then it becomes black, notice how my cursor becomes a hand, then you just use that one button to move around, okay? But because I have two, I'm going to use that. That's number one. Number two is you want to be scrolling in and out. So for those of you that have access to, well, I was going to say a keyboard. If you're on a laptop, because you have a keyboard. Sorry, I was thinking about those who may be on mobile devices. It's control, minus, or plus. Okay, or you can see bottom right, that's also a minus or plus out there. How you drag and drop any item, that's a standard thing. You may click on something and you can move it around. Bear in mind that most of these things you can see, I have actually locked it down so nobody can accidentally delete it. So the templates have been locked down, don't worry about it. Later you'll be practicing moving things around. Okay, Brian, before I go on, may I invite everyone to enter the Miroverse, please? Okay, so while you are logging in, I am going to move to the right.
And you don't have to put your email address in. You can actually bypass that.
Yep, thank you for that, Brian. And folks, if you are on a mobile device, doesn't look like anyone is, but if you're on a mobile device, it is actually very easy. You'll be using your finger to drag and drop, use your finger to touch and select things. Interestingly, if you have a tablet or you're on your phone, it is actually quite easy to navigate. All right, folks, I can see a bunch of people have logged in. That is fantastic. Now, if you can, meet me. See how it says helpful how to? Meet me on this frame. It's called the frame or / board, right? Now, I'm going to explain 3 things. And once I'm done explaining these 3 things, sorry, 4 things, my bad. 4 things, I'm going to invite you onto the board to actually start to play and actively interact with Miro. Now, number 1, the first thing you will notice is that, oh, there's a whole bunch of people running around. So for some of you, it might be, oh my goodness, this is very, very visually distracting. So number 4, I'm going to do that first. Okay, so if you want to follow along with me, and you can do this for yourself, at the top right-hand side of your own screen, you should be able to see my face and a whole bunch of other people. If you click the little down arrow, there is an option there straight away that says show or remove cursors. So I'm going to remove that. And so on my screen, you don't see that anymore. Okay, so that is one option. Now, for those of you that are ready to create your sticky shapes, this is what you're going to do. All right. Now, on the left-hand side, you will see a menu bar. There is the arrow, there is text option, sticky note, and shape. So I'm going to do a sticky note. I'm going to create this here. Hello, I don't like this. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. And there we go. Okay, so I've made a sticky shape. That's number 1 task to do, make a sticky shape. Number 2 task is, because this is a collaborative board, in the minor possibility you make a mistake, can I request that you learn your second best friend, which is in the bottom left of your screen, called the undo button. Okay, there's the undo button here. You can undo something. Okay, now folks, may I invite you all to the next board? I can see you starting to create your shapes. May I invite you to the next board? I'm going to stop screen share in a moment. In the next board, you will see an empty space. There are 2 boards side by side. You see that? 2 boards side by side. Please create your sticky or your shape here, answering the question, what are you curious about today for today's session? Or What do you hope this space offers you or others? All right. Okay, lovely. I can see people dragging and dropping things there already. Fantastic. We're going to pause for a moment. Okay, wonderful. Actually, just for the benefit of the recording and people who may be watching the recording, I am going to keep my screen share on. But for those of you who are actively writing up your sticky notes, you can just be directly in the Miroverse. Yeah. Okay, nice. Let's see. See a couple of people. Okay, wonderful. I see somebody else trying to enter the meeting room. So Brian, I'm going to trust you to sort that out. Folks, for some of you that are creating it on the left, try and practice after you've created your sticky note to drag and drop it to the right-hand side. There are two boards side by side. You will see big empty space. Yeah, you see a big empty space on the right-hand side. Yeah, that's right. Well done, Christina. All righty. Okay, lovely. I'm going to read out one or two things. Let's see. It's nice to see when you, by the way, for those of you that have practiced using one, whatever you selected, whether it was a text, a sticky note, or a shape, if you want to, you can play around with the other options in your menu. Yeah, you can adjust I can see some of you adjusting the size, play with another sticky note. You can change the color. You can also create a shape. The shape border can have a color. The inside can have a color as well. Ah, nice. I see somebody answering the second question, right? What do you hope this space offers others? Happiness, I hope. All right. Let's see what the others say. Okay, how to start my facilitation business, right? Just getting to see what some people are writing. Okay, wanting to learn what it takes to work on the business. Lovely. When you see that you're creating, remember folks, there is space, there's a board even to the right of this, yeah? There's lots of space here. You can move some of it to the board on the right. If you see yourself being accidentally overlapped, that's perfectly fine. Finish typing, you can always move your sticky somewhere else afterwards. Okay, we'll take another minute or so, and welcome to the folks who have just joined us. We are practicing using sticky notes, and if anyone is stuck, please unmute yourself, let me know, and I'm very, very happy to help you out. Okay, lovely. Let's see. The other board is, oh, goody. Thank you, Karen. Yes, the other board is finally getting some love. Okay, fabulous. All right. So yes, Mary, I can see you trying to make that star bigger. You can make it bigger. You can extend beyond the board. It doesn't matter, yeah? That's excellent. Okay. We'll take another minute for this because fundamentally for today's session, this will be the only thing that you will need, yeah? Just how to type on a sticky note. There's a lot of growing the business. There's client development. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. So we've got some people that are wanting to think about helping decide if and how when I want to start my own business. Collaboration connection. Lovely. All righty. Okay. That is very interesting. Hive. Oh, well done. Somebody has found some pictures to add in there. All right. By the way, one of the fun things, if you want to look at the menu bar on the left-hand side, it's hidden. It is actually the black button with a white plus in it. If you add that, you scroll down and you look for icons. That's where you can find things. It's actually quite fun to add things there. Okay, folks, we're going to take 30 seconds more. Welcome to the folks that have just joined us. What we're doing right now is getting used to playing with Miro, and has Zakia joined us yet? Because Zakia is, I know she is familiar with Miro, so she's going to be helping us today. Brian, one of the things that I will need your help with just for the next round before I send people into breakout rooms is to, given the numbers that we have at the time, to sort of divide it up into, I would say, approximately 4 plus or minus
You
per
got it.
per team. Thank you for that. All righty. I think we're good. We could continue playing with this all the time, but let's get back to it. Okay, oops. There we go. All right, folks. Now, may I request that you pause on this? Pause on this. Now that we have gotten used to adding a sticky note, now we're going to jump into our first major activity. All right. Oops, my mouse behaving. Bear with me just a second. There we go. All right. All right. Folks, I just want to check in with everyone just to make sure everyone is all right. Can you give me sort of like a physical thumbs up just to make sure we're all good? All righty, fabulous. Remember, folks, while we are doing this, we are helping ourselves. Thank you for that. Yes, if you want to have reactions actually at the top of your screen that you can see, there's a option there. You can have a reaction, right? Okay. Now, this is going to be our first activity for the afternoon. I'm going to hide something because I know visually it's a little bit heavy. Now we're going to scope this workshop out, right? Working on the business versus working in the business. What is the difference and what is going to be our focus for this afternoon? Now, on the business, one easy way to consider it is to think about it in context of, anything that you do to get business. And typically we would say has a longer term payoff. Working in the business is anything that you do after you've gotten the business, right? And so we assume it is an immediate payoff or an almost immediate payoff. So functions, right? Marketing and sales and legal are typically functions what we would call working on the business. And in the business is, designing our sessions, client engagement. So sort of like customer service and the fulfilling of orders. Now, specifically, right? Some examples are under working on the business. Like this is an example of a strategic element of working on the business is reviewing your goals, right? That you may have a yearly goal, you break it down to quarterly goal, you may break it down to monthly goals. So reviewing your goals, writing a LinkedIn post, right? These two things you would say, no, they don't have immediate payoff, but will obviously benefit you in the longer term. And the second element, right? The working in the business is designing session, creating a feedback form. Alrighty, so that is our context. And for today, folks, remember that what we're doing is we're going to be focusing on the business. And if there is time at the end of the session, my guess is there will be. If there is a need or a desire, we can absolutely talk about the in the business elements. All right, so now this is going to be our activity. Let me unhide this. Okay, here we go. So this is what we're going to do, right? In a moment, I'm going to send you all, well, Brian is going to send you all into breakout rooms. So what is your task in the breakout rooms? So regardless of whether you are a business owner, and if you are not yet thinking about it, that's fine. Just imagine that you are, right? You're a small business owner. Think about what do you think a small business owner would do, right? So think about just brainstorm 5 to 8 sticky notes, right? Tasks that a small business owner would typically carry out. Now, if you can bang that out straight away, right? Your 5 to 8 tasks, if you can do that straight away, go ahead. For some of us, if we need a little bit of an idea prompter, these are just some idea prompter. Think about what might a small business owner, what might I be doing on a daily or weekly basis? In other words, a little bit more often, right? Another thing is, well, what might I do maybe not so frequently? So daily, weekly will be something like, responding to emails. Monthly or quarterly, something like, something tax related. Also, another idea prompter, if you're wondering if you get stuck and you can't, really think of that many ideas, it could be, what could be a strategic task versus an operational task? All right, so an example of that is, now, LinkedIn, right? When you are brainstorming, I'm also going to request that you write a verb plus a very, very short descriptor. So LinkedIn, while yes, that is a task that you might do, we're not quite sure what exactly you will do when you're engaging with LinkedIn. So a good example of a task is write a post on LinkedIn. Or another one, which I use a lot because I am a premium member and I pay for membership to LinkedIn. I use Sales Navigator. One of the things I use it for is I use Sales Navigator to check in on my clients and just see whether they posted anything so that I can strategically, respond to their posts. So that's an example, right? And, those are examples also you would say of more strategic type things. A more tactical thing, a more operational type thing would be, I just did that actually earlier today, scanning and uploading my receipts into Dropbox. So that's an example. So when I send you into your breakout rooms, please do, of course, say hello to each other, introduce yourselves. If you want to, introduce your name perhaps, and maybe just a quick one on, hello, my name is Shoba, and basically I'm a process facilitator and I'm a coach. Just one or two things, quick 30-second introduction. The next thing you want to do, this is an important one, to double check that you're in the right frame. I'll explain in a moment what that is. Now, and to do that, just a quick reminder, Zoom tips. When you are in a breakout room, in Zoom, typically it's on the top right-hand side, but Zoom may have moved it, so just double check. It'll tell you the room number, right? And so in a moment, I'll show you how to correspond and make sure you're on the right board. So number one, double check the room number. Number two, remember that when you are working with your team, if the team gets stuck, in the bottom right of the options in the Zoom breakout room, there's typically, I think, under the 3 dots more, there is a call for help option. So when you click that, you will alert me. I can always pop in to help you out. If I'm delayed, so just bear with me, yeah? And the last one is I may set a timer, but do not follow the timer strictly. I set that also for a guideline just for myself, a soft guideline for myself. Because if all the teams finish faster, I'll pull you back out into the main room faster. Okay, so how do you check that you're in the right frame? Now I'm going to zoom out. Folks, if you want to look at it, you will see, okay, now I'm going to unhide all of them right now. Okay, bear with me just a sec as I'm unhiding them. I don't think I'll need more than that. So what you will do is you will double check what Zoom room you are in with the number that is here. So if you're Zoom room 4, make sure that you're in board number 4. The brainstorming question is there. You will also notice there is a sticky stack here. One of the cool things about Miro is that they've created this. So when you are in the room and brainstorming as a group, you can just grab it very, very easily. Yeah, you can grab it and start typing. However, if you do not like the shape and or color, remember you can always go back and select another color, but that you'll have to do that yourself. Yeah, you'll have to do that manually. Select another color, another shape to brainstorm. I want to leave that to your creativity, whatever. I've only put that here just for convenience sake. That is entirely up to you. Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing. Brian, may I invite you to, just before you open up the Zoom rooms, can I request that for each room, you just say the first person's name, you are room whatever, and so that when people listen out for it and they see that person's name, they know that, what's the room number.
You got it.
And
How long would you like these rooms open for? And I know you said what you said about the timer.
yes. So that is a good point. For this one, why don't we do, let's say we'll have like 8 minutes for this.
You
I
got it.
don't think we'll need that long, 8 minutes.
Okay, so room 1, we've got, I can go quickly. Room 1, Christina, Karam, Lane, Susan, Tershika. Room 2, Angela, Dawn, Jessica, Saya. Room 3, Jolene, Karen, Carrie, Nancy, Wendy. Room 4, Mary Jo, Sarah, and Zakia. Here we go.
Okay. See, Brian, I'm going to mess with you now.
Oh, good. Mess with me. Go for it.
actually, could we have it as 4 people? Could we, if we divided it to 4 people per room, because then each person will just take one corner of the board.
I'll see what I can do. Well, there are 4 rooms. Did you
Okay.
meant 4 people per room? Is that right?
Yes, 4 per room.
Okay, so we may end up with a little bit more than we'll wind up with a threesome, if you're okay with that.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's fine.
Forget everything I just said. Room 1, Christina, Dawn, Carrie, Mary Jo. Room 2, Angela, Jolene, Sarah. Room 3, Jessica, Karen, Shoba's iPad. We'll figure that out. And then Wendy Lowe. Room 4, Lane, Nancy, Saya, Susan. Room 5, Karen, Tarshika, and Zakia. Sound good?
Perfect.
All right. Ready? Here we go.
All right. Have fun, everyone.
And Shoba, if you're speaking now, we can't hear you.
Yes. Thank you for that very quick switch. I saw that switch before. I was like, okay. Anyway, folks, rewind, replay. What I was going to say was I had intended to extend the time just a little bit, but for this next bit, what I'm going to do is offer a little bit more time, and then you can continue brainstorming a little bit and also do part 2. So folks, what is part 2 of this segment? Let me just drag and move it to part 2 of, there we go, part 2. Okay, I'm going to make that nice and big. Alrighty, so this is what we're going to do. Well, assuming you have finished brainstorming, and if you have not, please take a couple more minutes. Like I said, I'll give a little bit more time. I'll give a little bit more time for that. Okay. The request is to create a little bit of space in the center of your board, right? Just drag and drop and move the stickies out of the center of the board. And then look at the various ideas and start to create in terms of columns, right? Similar things that you would say would fall into a similar category. So for example, if you look at, example, the LinkedIn, I'm going to use the LinkedIn example. Oh yeah, these are probably what we would say maybe are marketing type activities. Then you create a neat column, right? You create a column downwards, and then you can start to put the header. The one request I have, so that it is visually easier for everybody to see later, is the header to please use the black sticky note. So in order to create that, for those of us that are not looking at my Zoom screen, just request to jump over to the Zoom screen. I want to show you quickly how to do that. So on the left-hand side, of course, sticky note. The black is at the bottom right-hand side. By default, it turns into a square. I think to make it easier, just click on the sticky note and take the triangle option. Okay, so use that as your header, please. Okay, so number 1, you're starting to cluster in terms of columns. Then you're going to put a header on top of that. And naturally, if you have exact replicas, like maybe, for example, 2 of you wrote, one person wrote, create post on LinkedIn. Somebody else wrote generate post on LinkedIn. That's perfectly fine. Don't delete any stickies. Just move the sticky to the periphery. That's perfect. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. Don't delete anything. And also, while you're doing this, when you're moving stuff around, in the minor possibility you make a mistake, a soft reminder, undo is your best friend. Okay, folks, in a moment, I am going to send you off into your breakout rooms. This one, Brian, I'm happy to handle that. And just before I do, folks, I hope that, please take a moment to admire the attempts I made to beautify each board with cute little icons. For example, these 7 fingers. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Folks, I'm going to send you back into the breakout rooms. So like I said, if you would like to add a couple more ideas, or even as the columns form, you want to add the ideas after that, that's perfectly fine. All right. Okay, setting out the breakout rooms. They are going to be the same group of people. I'm going to put 12 minutes. I don't think we'll need that long, but let me put that for now. And all righty, folks, have fun. Part 2. Welcome back. I beat you to it, Brian. All right, see, this is behavior shaping, right? Okay. So, folks, let me do a screen share and then I'm going to share with you what we're going to be doing next. Bear with me just a second. All right, it's coming up. Okay. So we can see now, right? If all of you want to zoom out on the Miro board, you can see, yeah, there's a whole bunch of ideas that we've gotten and people are starting to get more and more creative. That is fantastic. Now, what we're going to do, and this is where I'm going to need your help, is we are going to now separate them into the next level. But before I do that, I just wanted to check with, I'm going to go just, slowly room by room. Just want to check. Okay. This is room 1, team 1. And again, folks, I'm only going to call on people only. It's just for the convenience of time. That's all. Yeah. So I'm just selecting the first person's. Oh, no, you know what? I'm going to go the last person's name in that room. Mary, could you represent your team, right? Room 1, and just share with us what was something interesting, right? An idea that you're like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. What was something interesting? What was one idea that you found interesting yourself personally? Do you remember to unmute yourself? You may be making the same mistake that I have.
We talked about LinkedIn and its success. That was the last conversation. How successful are we with our LinkedIn posts? And up that it's 10 to 1. Like you have to keep posting in order to start at least some conversation.
Yes. It is one of those things where it is a very powerful marketing tool, but it really can suck you in, isn't it? Yeah. So it's that. Yeah, I think many of us do have sort of like a little bit of a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn. Okay, thank you for that, Mary Jo. All right. Let me see if I can. There we go. Whoops, and my head is in the way. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. Okay, that's better. All right, Sarah, may I invite you? What is one interesting, idea? You're like, oh, well, this is interesting, or interesting conversation that you had.
I think so. One of the distinctions that we made was the cold pitch to new potential client versus the discovery or chemistry call with potential clients. So one is like a sort of a push method where you're just sort of like reaching out to people who've never heard of you, and then whereas like the chemistry call might be something that comes your way, where somebody reaches out and says like, hey, I think I want to do business with someone like you or somebody who does your type of business. Can I like schedule some time to talk to you, to meet you and find out a little bit more about you and if we might be a good fit?
Got it. Excellent. And this is exactly the sort of thing I want to start to highlight, because just to share with all of you, the next thing we're going to do is build a community level board for the separate categories. So we're going to split them out. And you notice for a couple of you, there are duplicate, it looks like it's a duplicate idea, but it serves a different purpose, right? So like Sarah pointed out for she and her team, what that is, one is a more push type activity, one is a more pull type activity, isn't it? Okay, so thank you for highlighting that, Sarah. Let's jump to, I'll make this a little bit smaller. Well done on the color, these color inspired little icons. So may I invite, let's see, who do we have? Wendy, you're last on the list. May I invite Wendy to please unmute yourself, share with us what is either, one interesting idea or an interesting conversation that you had.
Sure.
when you were
Yeah. I think Jessica and I worked on this together. And one thing that sort of came out was we weren't sure where to put designing like your offerings or programs, because our day-to-day business column was, receipts and financial books and websites and
Yep.
forms. And those are more administrative, but if your bread and butter is a facilitation business, then a good chunk of your day-to-day is going to be kind of designing those programs, tailoring those programs. So I think we ended up agreeing that that went under day-to-day, but I don't think we would have grouped all those things together at the start of the call.
Okay. Yeah. So very, very mundane type things. Okay, that's fair. Right. Thank you for that, Wendy. Now, next team, which is room 4. May I invite room 4? Let's see. Susan, please.
I thought you might call on me.
Only because your letter was last.
I understand. Yes, of course. Right. So I think we have a lot of the networking kinds of things. We thought also of, and we had Nancy, Saya, and Lane. We also thought of thought leadership to become, an expert in your field and present at conferences, write articles and blogs, be on podcasts, kind of get your name out there so you can put those links and things on your website and people
Nice.
hear you. And of course, it's just magic. They'll connect with you because they hear your brilliant leadership and ideas somewhere.
Lovely. Excellent. Yes. So there is a soft link to the world of marketing and branding, but I like the fact that you decided to separate that out, right? Because you say you really want to stand out in this crowd. Very nice. Thank you, Susan. Let me see if I got, okay, here we go. Team 5. Who's the last? Oh, Zakia, of course. All righty. Zakia, may I invite you to unmute yourself and share something interesting conversation, an interesting idea with us.
One interesting conversation was the nature of colors that came up in our group. There was quite a bit of conversation
All right.
about how we should designate colors, and I thought that was the cutest thing ever. But on a serious note, I really liked how we went about separating things in a very strategic way. Separating out planning and delivery was very interesting to me, simply because one could call the plan a deliverable in and of itself, but it is placed before that, kind of keeping with the trajectory of, when we meet the person, then when we go on to marketing as a whole, then we go on to figuring out how we're going to maintain that, on to meeting new clients as a deliverable in and of itself, because we want to show what we are presenting to them. The professional development piece I thought was really interesting because you popped in the room and you talked about how we need to be very specific about how we define our professional development, right? Are we sitting and reading a book, or are we attending a workshop or a conference, that sort of a thing? So yeah, I thought that was really intriguing.
Oh, well done. Just for that, if you. Oh my God, my brain died. How do you spell trophy? TRO.
You got it.
Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So, folks, now this next bit is actually going to be very interesting. It's going to be a little bit messy, and I will really need your help to help me out. So this is what we're going to do. You will see that there are some commonalities of headers. Now, what I want to do is to separate them out. So there will be some commonalities and some unique ones. So this is what I mean by that. Okay. So bear with me just a second. Going to move to. All right, where are we? Okay. So I'm at frame 19. I've just hidden the second bit for temporarily. Now, this is what I need the community's help to do. I want to add a header to each frame. So for example, I've noticed one that some teams have, not all teams have it, and it's perfectly fine, is marketing. Okay, so we're going to do part one, part two. Then part two, obviously you can guess, we're actually going to move all the marketing ideas into this board, but we're not going to move anything yet. What I need to do is to create headers so that we can move the ideas. Can you all help me out? All right. So you don't need to look at my Zoom screen anymore. Can you look at the Miro board and look at what are some of the commonalities in terms of headers? That's why I requested everybody to type it in black so that I can add them to the different frames. Can you help me out here? Once you see more than one, we can add it. Oh, okay. Oh, Brian, you can add that. Okay, you want to put thought leadership? Okay. Okay, let's make that a little bit bigger. So second one is thought leadership, intellectual development. Oh, okay, well done. Okay. Professional development is one of them. Okay, I see that. Thank you. I see planning. All right. What else do we have? Folks, if you can unmute yourself and help us out. I think there should be a finance and accounting one as well. Let me add that to frame 24.
Would say
Finance.
networking and business development.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to add that to the next one. Networking and okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Also, client communications takes a lot of time.
Thank you. And folks, what else are we seeing? What other commonalities are we seeing?
Yeah, product
Oh.
design and delivery.
Okay. So okay, product design and yeah, it could be a strategic thing, product design. The delivery bit is probably more working in the business, but the product design bit, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Design, okay. I'll put there and delivery. But we understand that delivery is probably more working in the business. Okay. There we go. Okay. What else? Was there anything on legal? Do we have a legal category?
We had one in our group.
Yeah, I think there probably should be, right? Something legal related. Okay. Let's add that. Oh my God, my brain. Spell legal for me, please.
Legal.
Thank you. I have no idea where it went. Okay, maybe I need a tea break myself. Okay. Is there anything else? What else are we missing? What are the unique elements? What are the unique elements? Are we good? Let's see. Thank you. All right. Folks, so this is what we're going to do now. I'm going to drag myself back to, if I may invite you to look at my Zoom screen or just look at frame 19. So this is going to be part 2. So when I send you back into your teams, this is going to be my request. Just have one person do this, right? So you can see in your own team level board, you have filled out a couple of things. What I would like you to do is copy and paste. Again, do not delete anything. The reason why, if you cut and paste and then you accidentally make a mistake, you may lose the data. Yeah. So copy, drag and drop. So you copy all the ideas from that particular category down below. Team, does that make sense? Are we okay? All right. What can I clarify before I send you out into the rooms? All right. One of the things I'm going to request is that I noticed when I looked at some of the teams have what looks like a similar header, but if you look at the details, it actually, you would analyze, you would go, it may not actually fit into that header. So when you do the copy paste, work as a team to say, okay, whatever is there and whatever you have just added, does it make sense to be in that same category? And if it doesn't, you may want to move it to a separate board, or you can create a subheader. Are we okay with that? All right, so yeah, don't make the assumption that just because the header is the same, that it actually is the same, because we may have defined it slightly differently. All righty, folks, let me pause my sharing. I'm going to send you out into our sort of little last, second last before you take a break. All right, let me send you out into your breakout rooms. Okay. So another 12 minutes for this. Have a good chat. Okay. Thank you. Yes. So Brian, the good thing is, when I myself come back out, I'm muted, and then the time it takes me to unmute yourself, you're quick on the draw to add the recording button back on, right? Thank you for that.
That's what I need. Yeah, thanks for that.
All right. See, it all was meant to work out. Folks, thank you. I know some teams are saying, wow, this is hard work. We're getting a bit tired. Folks, we are going to take a break very, very soon. Bear with me just for one more little bit. Then we'll take a nice break, because I do want to put this break after this last bit, because there's a logical break. And then you'll also have the chance to meet other people in the community. Yeah, we're going to mix the groups up a little bit. Okay, now, so this second bit is going to be hopefully a little bit lighter. This is just going to be a little bit of organizing these major boards. So what do I mean? What do I mean by that? So part 2 of this, you will see that there are a bunch of ideas. What I'm going to do is, in a moment, I'm going to ask each team to own a board, right? So when you own a board, what that means is when you go into the room, for example, team 1, I'm going to ask you to own marketing. What you're going to do is just organize it. So similarly, if you see ideas that are exactly duplicates, then just move them to the bottom. Remember, we don't want to we don't want to delete anything. So just move the idea to the bottom. If it makes sense, you can also create subheaders in this particular marketing board, right? And again, for clarity, may I request that the subheaders also be black. So what we do is Control C, Control V, and then hopefully I can spell this. All right, there we go. So you can have a bunch of subheaders, and then you can put that in. In the minor possibility, and I anticipate it might happen, in the minor possibility that after you're done, there are 1 or 2 anomalies that they go, this really doesn't seem to fit into the marketing. Just move it off to the side. And what we'll do is maybe afterwards, right, when we've had a quick look at everyone's board, we can reorganize them. But if you see it somewhere else, you can move it. But if you're not sure, you can just leave it by the side. All right, folks. What can I clarify? And if not, just give me a thumbs up and I'll send you back in. This one will take 5 minutes. Can I clarify? If not, give me a thumbs up. Yep. All right. Okay. So let's do a quick one on this. 5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes. Organizing. All right. Ah, well done. You were quick on the after that. You knew I was going to have my unmute button ready, wasn't it? All right, folks, we're almost to the break. And by the way, the bulk of the work has been done. Yeah, the hard work has been done. Now, this bit, I don't want to call on any team or anyone specifically. Could I just hear from 1 or 2 of you? What was something interesting? What some interesting conversations you had while you were trying to sort it out? Yeah, or a very interesting idea again. So interesting idea or interesting conversation, challenge that you had. Go ahead, Brian, please.
So we added an additional category to our 2 boards that we had to triage, which is,
Thank you.
well, these don't fit into either of these. So we just came up with like a not category.
Okay.
So the rest of you may be disappointed by our assessment of your placement, but there you go.
So what frame, for everyone's reference, what frame are you at?
Right. So we did finance and accounting, which was
Yeah.
24, and networking and business development, which is 25. So we looked at so for 24, we said not finance and accounting would be gathering testimonies for your website or LinkedIn, developing a process for outreach and follow-up, creating prospects for engaging prospective clients to loyalty and customers, and about 3 others. So we thought that it doesn't really sound like finance and accounting to us.
Yep. Okay. Yes. No, that does not. That needs to go somewhere else, but that's okay. Thank you for that, Brian. Any other team? An interesting conversation, something to highlight? What was it like working together? Yes, please, Nancy.
One person in our group commented that they felt tired just looking at all the things on the board, that there was a lot to do.
Yep. And thank you for highlighting that, Nancy. You know, when I was designing this workshop, I did not know how many ideas, how many people would show up, how many ideas would come up, but I anticipated that it would potentially come off as quite scary and quite intimidating, right? And the intent was actually to be the opposite. This is meant to be, and imagine, right? This is an imperfect picture. This is what we can think of, what we've done before, what we imagine. So I was going to highlight this later, but Nancy, thank you for bringing it up. One of the things I want to invite you to just remember is that truly we do not need to do all these things at the same time and have all these things ready to run a successful business. Like I was sharing with you, one of my very good friends who is a very successful facilitator in the business for 15 years. He doesn't have a website and he's just building it. He's just building it right now. Yeah. So in all these categories, later we're going to look at what are some core areas and what are some things, if you wanted to do it, that you want to work on. Okay, with that being said, let's take a much needed and welcome break. We are 20 minutes past the hour. Can we come back at 30 minutes past the hour? Thank you. Okay. Thank you for holding it together. That sounds very dramatic. I don't know. Partly the reason why I said that, Brian, was I was just going through the messages, and then I was like, come on, the 7 fingers was fun. A little dramatic, but still. All right, folks, I'm going to do my screen share again. We're moving to the last bit. All right, so where are we? Whoops. We're moving to the last bits for the segment, and I do plan to get you out of here by the top of the hour. I might steal maybe 5 minutes, but not longer than that at all, because I am mindful of the fact that it is a school day, work day, right? And yes, energy is waning. All right, let's get to the next bit. Ooh. Oh, that is interesting. I forgot to lock it down then. Oh, there it is. There we go. Ah, there we go. All righty. Folks, so this is what we are going to do. It's going to be a 2-part process, and then we're pretty much going to move to close. But just to organize ourselves, I just want to very, very quickly hide this bit. Okay, just so that visually it's just easier for us to follow along. Okay, now, so what I'm going to request is this is going to be an individual activity, although I'm sending you into the breakout rooms. So what we're going to do is I'm going to request that you just kind of do a light going through. Like I said, it's towards the, the end of our 2.5 hours. I know a number of you are a little bit tired. So do a light going through. And then as you're reading, right, the various activities under the various headers, some questions may come up for you, right? And the request is to generate anywhere between 1 maximum 3 in total, not 1 per board. Yeah, 1 to 3 maximum questions that you may have about running a business. Yeah. So for example, a question that I genuinely have for myself, because, I have just recently, restarted my business. I'm in the process of rebooting it. One of the things, a question that I have, I know popped to mind immediately was, what's a good insurer to go with for professional indemnity, right? So that's an example of a question. So the request is part 1. What we're going to do is go through, generate maximum 1 to 3 questions in total, not 1 to 3 per board, just 1 to 3 in total. And where you will put your questions is, I'm going to zoom out. To make life easier, again, I'm going to request, right, just to make life easier, that if you have a marketing related question, put your question here below, right? Again, if you have a thought leadership question, put it in the frame directly below, again. Now, what I will do is, as you are reading through, I will copy and paste the headers so that it will make a lot of sense. And I will also create perhaps another, like an other category, right? Such that if you have a question that doesn't fit into any of them, stick them there. All right. What can I clarify? And if not, I'll send you into your breakout rooms. Give me a thumbs up if you're all good. All good? Okay. Let me send you into your breakout rooms. So now I have reduced the breakout rooms. There will be basically 3 breakout rooms. Dawn, there will be 5 people in your room. You'll be in room 1. Mary, there will be 5 people in your room. You're in room 2. And Christina, there will be 4 people in your room. Okay, so for this reading and just generating 1 to maximum 3 questions, let's take 5 minutes. All righty. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I know that some of you were in the process of writing up your last question. That's perfectly fine. So because what we're going to do in this next bit, right, is in your teams, I'm going to send you back into the same team. This time around, first time because it was a little bit of silent brainstorming. Do say hello to your teammates, your new teammates as well. So the request is just pick any frame that you want to start. If you want, team 1, you can start with frame, the first frame, and team 2 can start with second frame, team 3 start with the third frame. So basically pick any frame to start. And then I forgot to tell you this little piece of instruction. I hope it won't be too bad. So look at the questions that are in the frame and then answer the question that only your team member, one in the team, has asked, right? Because you obviously see a whole bunch of other questions. We don't have time to actually for everybody to answer everything. So it's just look at the question that one of your teammates has asked and then answer that question. Okay, so I'm going to just very, very quickly give you an example of what that could look like. Let me just pull that here. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Zakia. So I'm just going to use Zakia's question as a simple example. So Zakia, you belong to room 1, team 1. So for example, when you pop into the marketing, this is Zakia's question. How do you ensure ROI with hiring marketing assistants? So the team, my request to you is to help her answer that question. If you are unable to answer that question, what you can do is maybe put a little note or something to say question has not been answered. One of the things we're going to do after that when we come back to plenary is we're going to possibly lean into the bigger group to answer some of the bigger, gnarlier questions. All right. If possible, somebody type out a quick response. That would be fantastic. If not, that's okay. You can just verbalize your answers to each other. I leave that up to you. Okay, because sometimes the answers might be quite long. Now, another little request as well, and another little caveat, of course, we know that when we are giving each other sort of advice and tips, we know that it may or may not be accurate, it may or may not apply to us, and it definitely does not constitute legal advice. A little request around sharing information. Like, for example, if I was part of the group and I said, hey, I am looking for an insurer, and somebody else goes, oh, yeah, I have somebody. And if you want to put that those details into the board, you can put any detail that is publicly available, meaning to say like a website, but don't put their phone number, don't put their email, yeah, because this entire board will be open. Other people can come in and visit it, yeah. So just out of respect for privacy, anything that's publicly available, like LinkedIn, you can put in, website you can put in, but not somebody's personal email or phone number. Folks, are we good? Okay, I'm going to send you out into your rooms. Almost. I might steal 2 or 3 more minutes. Okay, Brian. All right, folks, I got the subtle, well, not so subtle, but the subtle reminder. I have a few minutes left, and that's it. I am going to keep to time. I believe you, my fellow trainers, facilitators, consultants, maybe not so much coaches, I think you do stick to time, is we always design things and we have this idea in our mind, it will take this long, and it never does. It always takes longer. So I am going to cut things down, folks. And so I just would like to wrap up with us having a conversation. I had grand plans on doing a little thing on, so what is one area you'd like to work on? But I think, let's just leave with this. The question of what are you leaving it with? What is the one thing that you are taking away with you? It could be a small aha. It could be a potential, I would like to work on this. It could be I want to connect with somebody, or it could be I love Miro. Okay. Folks, can we go just very quickly round the room, sort of like in a breath, And if I may, oh, I was about to say literally, Wendy, I was just about to call on you. May I request you verbalize it? Just call on the next person.
Okay. Mary Jo, you're up next, so get ready. My takeaway is I can do this. I know how to do this. Now it's time to do this. Mary Jo.
All right. Got to unmute yourself, Mary Jo.
No, I thought that.
There we go.
Picking a few ideas and then moving forward with it. Nancy, you're next.
I would say that it was gratifying to discover that I'm actually doing a couple of things I should be doing already. So that's great. And Dawn, you're up.
Well, thank you. That's actually so ironic because I had a very similar answer, Nancy. Reflecting on the board and our experience tonight, I felt an heightened confidence that I'm doing a lot of things already and well. So thank you, and I'll pass it over to Christina.
Really interesting because I read an article last week about unpacking jobs or roles or fields, and we did that just here. So I found it to be a really interesting thing to find out what are all of the things that are required. So this was great.
Nice.
Saya?
Hey, I have a very impressed by Shoba's facilitation skill. I thank you so much for this session. It's really powerful, and yeah, when we don't know anything, you're just very patient to guide us. Thank you.
Who would you like to call on next, Saya?
Oh, so sorry, I forgot to say that.
That's okay.
Zakia.
Thank you, Saya. What I am reflecting on in this moment is that if you don't ask the question, then you can't get the answer. And I am going to work on actually verbalizing the questions that come to mind so that I give people the opportunity to answer them.
Okay, lovely.
And I want to call on Karen.
Thank you. Just the realization that success is not a solitary endeavor, and that I'm sure each of us, including me, feel better and more positive as a result of this session. And thank you to our incredible facilitator and Brian.
Yeah. All right.
Who would you like to go next?
Oh, Brian.
Okay. So I was just amazed and blown away by Shoba's poise and the degree to which, it was absolutely transparent. I didn't feel like the technology or anything was getting in the way of the conversation. So I learned a lot from Shoba, just her delivery style, her presence. It was just amazing, amazing. And I would like to hear from Tarshika.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian. Shoba, thank you so much for this opportunity. It was really unique and a good opportunity to network with other people. And the thing that I'm going to take away is I received a lot more information than I thought I would. So it's a little bit of filtration and then reflection before I start action.
It's a lot, yes.
And I will pass it to Carrie.
It's always a bit of a risk calling on somebody who's off camera. It's like, are they there?
That's okay. Carrie, just double checking that you're there. And if you are, unmute. Sometimes it's a little.
We've
No.
also got Jolene and Karam.
Okay, so there's also Sarah, right?
Oh yeah, and Sarah. Sorry, Sarah.
Ah,
Sarah,
Sarah.
why don't we go to Sarah?
Yes.
All right. Happy to be the one on camera. I am taking away, I had a lot of questions, but I also had a lot of answers. So that was kind of a nice surprise. Feels good to have some answers every once in a while. And I'm just appreciating the generosity of this community. So thank you. And let's see if Jolene's here, my breakout room buddy.
Hi, yes. I'm taking away just more confidence that I am on the right track with some of the things that I was thinking and doing. And I also really appreciate Soba, your energy and just your facilitation style.
Thank you.
And I will pass it over to Karam.
Maybe just listening in.
I think Karam is listening in, and very welcome to. I will say a quick one, and then Brian, I'm going to hand it to you, and then we will call it an evening. Yeah. So, folks, thank you for your time, your energy, your attention. Again, if you did find this beneficial, I think Brian has just dropped the link in. This goes to support other people. Yeah, folks. Brian, you said there are. If you can do just a quick one.
Yeah, so again, thank you very much. We use the pay what feels right model coming from Frederick Laloux. And if you haven't heard of him, I'm happy to geek out on his whole philosophy on reinventing organizations. This goes to benefit Nova Scribes. So we use it to get budding graphic recorders a chance to earn a bit of an honorarium on other Nova Scribes calls. It also goes to IFVP, the International Forum of Visual Practitioners, and for events like this one, Ampersand, the IFVP conference, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it all goes to a good cause.
Okay. And so the last bit from me, Brian, before I send it back to you to officially close it, one of the things I know just moving to a new country is appreciating building community. And I hope I have also contributed back to all of you, because I know it's tough, right? Whether you are in employment, whether you are self-employed, when you're wanting to build your skill sets, it's always nice to do so with the community. So I genuinely look forward to getting to know you better, hopefully meeting some of you in person as well. And hopefully we can build our skills and our businesses together. Okay, Brian, back to you.
All right, that's a wrap, everybody. Let's give Shoba a big Nova Scribes thank you. Yay! That was Awesome. Thanks, Shoba. Next time, my place.
All righty.